What if the president's moves aren't about policy anymore? What if president is reshaping the policy and the power and everything else is left in the dust? In the next 2 minutes, we will walk you through military tensions, tech control, energy sanctions, rising social unrest in America, and why markets are reacting more to politics than to the economy, and by that I mean economic data than ever. By the end of this video, you will understand why money isn't panicking, but it isn't confident either. My name is Naeem Aslam. I come with a wealth of over 20 years of investment banking experience. During this time period, I have worked as a hedge fund trader for Bank of New York Mellon and as an equity trader with Bank of America. As a reminder, nothing in this video can be perceived as an advice. This is purely for educational basis. Now, let's dive in. What is happening in the market? Most people think markets move only when big money drops or when the big money jumps. But here is the simple truth about the market. Markets freeze when leaders send mixed signals. The signals, especially the kind of signals that we are experiencing in the markets these days. And that is what exactly it is happening. So on one side, political actions are loud and disruptive. On the other side, there's a very little economic data to explain what is really happening and how much reliable that data is. If you are not following it fully, we will explain in more detail. Stay with us. Investors don't simply like confusion, so let's break it down step by step. Let's explain everything in a way that you understand it. First, I wanted to talk about a state in America called Minnesota. It's a small state in the northern part of the United States and home to cities like Minneapolis and St. Paul. It is known for diverse communities. This is the key which you need to pay attention to, and strong local government. In early January, protests erupted, and there, after a federal immigration and customs enforcement officers fatally shot a local woman named Renee Good while enforcing immigration orders. The incident sparked a large demonstration which turned tense and persistent. Now the president is threatening to use power called the Insurrection Act, a law from 1807, and that lets the president send the US military to this particular town if local authorities cannot control what is happening. Now, investors are watching because deploying American troops inside the country for protest is extremely rare and signals social instability. For markets, that matters. Why? Because social stability affects consumer spending, consumer confidence. Huge public protests and possible military movements make business rethink hiring and expansions. Investors shift towards safer assets, and when they see disorder, market insight. What does that really mean? When protests hit the news and the authorities talk about military response, investors move money into gold and bonds, which is another form of a safe haven, meaning a safer asset to put your money in, because those hold value when confidence from the incidents that I have mentioned, it drops. Greenland is a large island in the Arctic Oceans, just for you guys to understand it. And politically, it is part of Denmark and strategically important for military bases and energy routes in the Arctic. The president is pushing to control Greenland, but this is angering NATO and the allies, meaning the countries which are with NATO on the same page. That is what the allies are, a group of countries including the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany and France that cooperates on security. Now, president is going against that. He says that I wanted to take Greenland, and then allies are saying that you cannot do that. When a leader's, basically the problem over here is when a leader plans to threaten establishment or established agreements within this alliance, Europe gets worried. For investors, this matters because disagreement with key trading partners like European countries increase uncertainty in global markets. When NATO tensions rise, defense stocks often get stronger. European markets may weaken as risk appetite falls as a result of all of this one. So what are the market insights? What does this mean for the market? In the light of what is happening in the Greenland and how Trump is very much annoying allies, defense stock, i.e. the military stocks, it can see a huge uptick. Why? Because it can benefit from rising geopolitical tensions and uncertainty in European markets because of what is happening in Greenland can very much influence adversely, badly to the markets. Okay, now let's move on to the next chapter. Let's talk about Venezuela first. What is the importance of Venezuela? It is a country in South America with some of the biggest oil reserves. By many counts, it has more oil reserves than Saudi Arabia. Oil sales are how Venezuela makes most of its national income. The US is working closely now after taking out the recent leader with Venezuela's government on energy deals, even as tensions remain on the back of what the recent coup happened and how they abducted the president. This shows that Washington wants to keep control on Venezuela's government and its oil resources. So for investors, this matters. Why? Because oil price movements affect energy companies. If US influence rise in Venezuela, that could limit oil access of rivals and push prices one way or the other. Emerging markets stocks also gets influenced massively, especially in the Latin America, because they are very much sensitive to changes in oil prices. In a nutshell, when energy control issue escalates, oil companies and countries tied to energy exports becomes more volatile. Now let's move on to the third chapter. President is imposing tariffs on advanced computer chips, the kinds used in defense stocks, in artificial intelligence, in phones and in computers. The reason given is very simple, that it is the national security fact and the country wants to be less dependent on foreign-made chips. China is one of the most important major chip player in this whole equation. So reducing reliance or reliability on China affects global supply chain because where you're going to bring all that supply from. So for investors, why this matters? This matters because US chip makers could benefit if production shifts home from China. Global tech companies that rely on cheaper imported chips might see higher costs and lower profits. This dynamic changes in all of them how supply chains are valued because you are moving things from China back in the United States and that impacts everything. Now again, the question really comes in why this matters for the markets or what is the takeaway in terms of the markets or for investors. Tariffs, here is the takeaway. Tariffs can help domestic producers in the short run, but they often raise cost for technology and the users of that technology around the world. Now let's move on to the next chapter. The Fed, which is the central bank in America, which controls the interest rate, or simply said, the institution that sets interest rate and influences money supply, how much money is printed, it is supposed to be independent, meaning it makes decisions based on economic conditions, not political pressure. The president is saying The Fed needs to lower interest rate to help factories and manufacturing. So on the outset, this looks really positive because the president wants to do things positively. But for investors, they are saying he cannot control the Fed. Why? Because conflicting messages between political leaders and the central bank can increase uncertainty. Interest rates influence borrowing costs for companies and individuals. When people think the Fed is not independent, why this matters? What does this mean for the market? The market insights are uncertainty around interest rates, uncertainty around the independence of the Fed matters a lot. So, with that, let's move on to the next important section. The president's strong enforcement actions are dividing the country. Why I am saying that? Because some supporters or some Americans support strict border controls, while others see it as a heavy-handed and harmful to communities. So allies, and again, the countries which support the United States or the same narrative that are called allies, in this context, a group or institution that normally work together, city governments, state leaders, local police, courts, even neighboring countries like Mexico, who help manage borders and immigrations. When these groups don't work smoothly together, it can lead to confusion and disruption. So for investors, this matters. Why? Because consumer confidence falls, once again, like before, when people feel that the social fabric, like the fabric which makes, like the thread which makes your clothes, this is exactly that fabric over here, is strained, has come under stress. Number two, retail businesses and services industries hurt when people spend less. Businesses slow hiring when they see instability like this one. So what is the key takeaway for the markets? Social tensions like these ones are slow economic, they slow down the economic growth because people and companies hold back in terms of spending and investments. So what is the total summary? How can we put it all together? Here is the full picture. Number one, we talked about the Minnesota, where president is pushing to deploy military. Number two, NATO tensions over Greenland because president wants to take Greenland and that is creating the disruption. Number three, control of Venezuela energy is a new leverage point. He still wants to have a full control on Venezuela. Number four is the chip tariffs. Remember that we discussed earlier how technology costs can very much underpin and affect various different stocks. Number five is the pressure on the Fed, how president wants to still control the Federal Reserve, which is supposed to be independent. And lastly, immigration enforcement that divides the country. There is no equilibrium within the country, or the allies, let's we call them, are not on the same page. That is what we are looking at in terms of our markets. Now, why markets are cautious on the back of that one, to summarize everything, and not confident is because now answer is this is because there's so much confusion. Now I want you to answer this honestly in the comments. Do you think this is clear, well-planned strategy that what the president is doing, or markets being forced to trust improvisation? Because confidence moves money, in my opinion, but what is your opinion? And right now, confidence is being tested. Stay with us with Zay Capital for more simplified story and markets, and subscribe to our channel in order for us to continue to move in the algorithm. Thank you for your time.